Hey everyone, welcome back to the SteelKnight CNC channel. Today we're going to be building a half-style storage shed for the wood that's on the inside using reclaimed lumber. This is not only a functional project, but it's a suitable project for what I'm going to be doing. So we're going to be taking this old lumber, ripping it down into a frame style, and we're going to build a outside storage shed, half shed. Anyways, let's go see about those tools we're going to be working on. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Oh, just a quick side note, I forgot to tell you the dimensions. The dimensions from the wall to outside is going to be 1.5 meters by 3 meters long. So that's what we're going to be working with. I'm going to start bringing the lumber over here. This is going to be the prep area just because I need to make sure there's no nails in here. And I'm going to be putting down the ripped lumber with anchor bolts onto the wall and onto the floor. And we're going to be using this combination circular saw system back here, and then we'll start building the frame. All right, so here I have my combination table. That's a circular saw slash router slash planer and jointer. We're going to be using the table saw side. We got some anchor bolts, a claw hammer, and then you're going to need a hammer drill to put those anchor bolts into the ground. Make sure you got the right size drill bit. This is wrong. I have to get it out. And then make sure you have a speed square handy because we have to cut these down to size. And we have to also measure the pitch of the angle of the roof. So let's start.
You'll want to remove any old nails or screws that might still be in the boards. I'm using a simple pry bar and a hammer to get these out. What I'm getting ready to do here is measure how long the board is, or the beam, and then I'm just taking that measurement and do it in half, or divide it in half, and then that will be the 1.5 meters I need for both sides of the wall. Oh, and I forgot to add one additional tool. If you don't have a chop saw or a circular saw to cut these in half, you're going to need one of those, or a reciprocating saw, like a sawzall or something like that. And this is how I chop the wood in half, and this will give me that 1.5 meters that I'm looking for. Now what I'm doing is I'm measuring out the distance of the width of the board that I need to chop down or rip it down. Now that we got the lumber prepped, it's time to rip it down to size. I'm cutting these boards to 6.5 centimeters, and this will be perfect for the frame we're going to build. Remember, when working with table saws, always use a push stick and safety guards. Reclaimed wood can be tricky since it's often not perfect straight, but it is part of the challenge, right? For the next board that need to be ripped down, I used a bandsaw, and the reason why I used a bandsaw is because it was binding up on a table saw, and I don't want to burn out the motor for the table saw blades stopping all the time. So like I said, these boards are twisted and warped, and that's what happens when you work with reclaimed lumber, especially that this one here is nearly, I would say, close to 70 years old. And here's the close-up shot of me cutting this down. You can see that there's a lot of splits in the log and everything. That's normal as aging occurs and the wood starts to dry out. You'll have more splits. Alright, here we go. We're getting ready to open up the planer slash jointer machine. All I'm doing is just removing the I don't even know what fence for the table saw, and then because I haven't used this in a while, I forgot where the lever was to open it up, and you can see that hanging right there, that little L-shaped one. So what I'm doing next is putting over the dust chute over the top rotating blades, making sure the table's a little bit clean. And then the vacuum cleaner, I actually should have hooked this up with the table saw because there's a port over there for that. But you're supposed to clamp this on. I just put it on, and I think the suction was good enough alone to stay put where I needed it. So now I'm raising a table for the thickener, and I didn't measure the depth of the wood, which I should have, because then I could have got it at least within the ballpark, but a lot of things overskip my mind. It happens a lot, especially if you don't use the tools often. You know, I'm not a woodworker, I'm a welder by profession, so internationally certified. So what we're doing is we're pushing the boards through, and I'm trying to get the same thickness across of both boards, which is essential. I mean, it's not essential, you're building a shed, but for me, I just wanted to be essential that both boards would be the same thickness. And this one was not so bad. I did cut down the center pretty good, which is really good because obviously you don't have to thicken that much more. What I'm doing right now is measuring the height that I need to cut for the 2.3 meters. Here's a close-up shot of that, and I think I mark it right around 230, so and right now we're over at the chop saw because it's actually pretty essential for the height you need. I think the roof outside is probably at like a, I don't know, like a 20 degree or 30 degree pitch for the snow and everything. So I have to be underneath the roof support beams. That way I can push up plywood underneath and then cover it with tar paper later on, which will be coming in the second part of the video. And here's the second log we're going to be doing. So what you see me now is just dropping a table so I can drop the dust chute for the thickener jointer because I gotta need that fence back because we're gonna have to rip it down the center now. Just one side needs to be closed. Oh yeah, and this is what I told you about. I forgot to hook up the dust chute to the bottom of the table saw, and it's on right now. And just got it out, all the dust. It was a lot stuck up in there, so we're getting ready to rip this down again. Just doing a final measurement again, because we did take off the fence. So, and I'm pretty sure I miscalculated. I was like, oop, that doesn't look good. Oh, that happens. But nonetheless, it was pretty straight after that. The saw blade kept binding up a little bit, and it's because of the twist in the board alone. The only way to get the twist out is to plane the whole thing, or thicken the whole thing from all four sides, and you'll have a straight piece of lumber after that. But there could be a hidden nail in there, and you don't want to ruin your blades. With our lumber cut down, we're ready to build the frame. I'm starting with the base. You'll want to make sure your corners are square. Use a carpenter square or a meter square to check. Once your base is solid, we'll move on to the walls. I'm keeping this build simple with a basic rectangle frame design, but feel free to modify as you see fit. And here I'm bringing over the 2 meters 30 long boards to see if they fit underneath the rafters, which they did, but I wouldn't be able to push up wood because going back towards the rafters like that, it's higher than I would say at least 30 centimeters out from the wall. It's definitely lower, so I'm trying to be underneath that. Which I did go back and wind up cutting these down to size off camera. And with these two pieces here, 1.5 meters, because I have like this cobblestone style paved driveway, whatever you want to call it, I made sure that the holes lined up on the rocks itself, so when I do start drilling down, it's over the rocks and not in between it with the anchor bolts. And here's just a quick close-up shot of drilling into these with a 12 millimeter wood bit. And here comes the fun part. Apparently, I'm getting out the hammer drill right now, and I was like, wait a minute, I don't have the hammer drill bit, so I had to go with a regular Bosch power drill, which is fine because it definitely has a hammer on it. What I'm doing right now is I'm just lining up the wall with a 1 meter large framing square and just making sure I'm over the holes that I need to be. And that's very important because, like I said, you don't want to be going in between the cracks because you're not going to have any anchor support there for those anchor bolts. And I'm just marking the screws right now, then we're going to go hammer on this. Because this Bosch drill don't have a heavy hammer setting like the actual hammer drill that I have, you got to put a lot of pressure down to get anywhere. And yeah, I mean, it was fine for the ground side because, you know, you can put pressure down with your body weight, but as soon as you start going overhead, I didn't feel like going all the way upstairs to the house to go grab the ladder for the wall side. You'll see that coming up. So I'm getting ready to put these anchor bolts in, and they are 12 millimeters, I want to say, by close to 100 millimeters long. So you just pound them in. I'm pretty sure I'm doing it wrong. I think you have to have the nut on top, but I don't know. So what I'm doing right now is just making sure that the holes line up. Sometimes you gotta beat the anchor bolts into place or sideways to get it lined up, and that's normal because not everything is 100% straight when you beat it in. But it's fine. I'm just making sure. You can see that big old spider crawling over there by the wall. We got some pretty big spiders here in Austria, which is nuts. They almost kind of look like wolf spiders, but they're not. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just putting on the washers and nuts and not tightening anything down just yet. And here what I'm doing is looking why, because I beat the crap out of the top of them. They didn't want to sit on, but I had to put my weight on this side because the back of the support wall or support perimeter is actually higher than the stone that was sitting right there. I don't know why I did it that way, but hey, it worked. So now we're on to the most outer side of the wall here, and this is closer to the street. I'm just using the back of the workspace here because that wall is actually very straight, and that's the only way we'd be able to get a straight piece of lumber. So, or straight, not lumber, straight off the wall. So now I'm just measuring with a level square, 1 meter level square or leveler to make sure everything is level along the wall, and I'm putting this beam right on the outside and of the floor joint, and you're going to be able to see coming up that I struggle a lot overhead. And like I said, I didn't want to go upstairs for a ladder, pretty lazy, but for this piece here, the 2 holes at the bottom was fine, but look how overhead that is. I struggled, but it got the job done. So to cut this down for the sake of time, I sped it up a little bit. Alright, so now I'm getting ready to put up the most outer part of the wall, and I'm not sure how to go about this. I'm not a framer, I'm not a woodworker, but if I was a welder, I would have obviously magnets to hold everything in place, and then or tack weld one corner and then go from there to straighten it out. But unfortunately, I'm one person doing this project, so I have to go with what I have. And if you guys would have done something different, let me know how you would have tackled this outer joint here. I just put in, I believe, a few screws to hold it in, and then that's how I went about it. Because I needed to get it higher, I just put the sawhorses to one side and then put a couple boards. I am a little bit heavy, so not really that much, but I'm like 190 pounds right now. And I'm just doing a final measurement on the outside. And of course, because the boards are twisted and also the ground is not level, you're gonna have rocking, or you're gonna have a not straight piece. And it's okay, because once I get the joint on top fastened, I have to get a 3-meter long piece or in between, and that will push out both sides of the walls to be more straight. And then I come later on, I will be putting more beams down the center of these main beam that's on the support of the garage. This is just the outer perimeter first I'm building. And so my camera did die, and I wound up plugging it back in. It's just an old iPhone, but what I'm doing here is the same thing as the other side, and just making sure everything's straight. But you could tell that that wall, that vertical beam right there in front of it is definitely not straight. It is definitely leaning almost maybe 20 degrees off to the right side of the camera, which is fine. Right now what I'm doing is I'm just drilling the top of it so I can get some screws to hold a little bit closer to center. Wish it did help a little bit. I want to say thanks for watching this video. If you want to see the full video build without any undercuts, you can go ahead, head over to my Patreon. I'll link it right here and in the description down below. I want to say thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I want to see how you guys would have tackled this project for outside. Alright, until next time, next week we'll be doing part 2.